Hello and welcome, JPEG family. Welcome to today's episode where LumenJack has given us a deep dive on the curation process of JPEG DAO. And please feel free to ask questions in our live chat, comment section, or in our Discord server. All of your questions will be answered. Today we're giving away 5 NFTs, so please be sure to enter and be active on our giveaways today. Today's giveaway prize includes the 5 NFTs that you can check on the prize list in the video description. To participate, just send a message in today's live chat or in our general chat. Today we're announcing a contest for an art curation on the JPEG DAO workshop. If you submit your art will be selected to receive JPEG in exchange for curation on your official Lightment page. As the workshop competition reward, you'll receive a payment of 10,000 JPEG. The contest starts today. From this moment, you can submit your art until the 20th of March, 2 p.m. Eastern. And then from March 20th to the 25th, your art will be showcased in the JPEG DAO Discord channel. Everyone can vote on them, and the art with the highest amount of votes will win the workshop art curation. The theme of this competition will be mountains and trees. If you submit for the mountain theme, it will be curated on the JPEG DAO official account. And for the tree theme, it will be curated on the NFTs Lightning account. There will be one art curated for each. So that's 2 10,000 JPEG prizes. Also, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. So today we have LumenJack and we have Sean. How you guys doing?
Great. Excited to see what Sean's got for us.
Yeah,
doing pretty good here.
Awesome. Yeah, Sean's going to showcase something really exciting today. So we're going to build up to that moment and we'll show you what has been behind the works. Take it away, guys.
Well, I guess I'll kick things off a little bit. This episode really explains how we curate art at the JPEG, and there's really no concrete answer for that. We use a lot of different avenues to gain art. When we first started, really the focus was to highlight a lot of the artists that were already existing on Lightment. So I was lucky enough to have some decent relationships with a lot of these artists through Twitter, and buying their art, collecting their art, trying to learn from them. So we actually had initially a lot of our members in JPEG were these artists, and when we're looking at how to highlight what's going on in the stellar NFT space, we figured that the best place to start was with the artists that were already successful or trying to make a name for themselves. And I don't know how many people were around for the Advent calendar, but that was really that month of December was when we really started to curate a lot of art from artists that were on chain. And that continues to be the main way that we collect art at the moment, but we're currently trying to reach out to folks across chain. I've made a few connections here and there, but always looking for more. And that's the thing about the DAO culture is it's not just one person who has the say as to what art is offered. It's really collaborative. And that's one of the reasons we're doing the show, is to highlight the fact that, hey, if you want to highlight your art through the JPEG, contact us. If you know an artist on another chain that you'd love to see, jump in Discord, let us know, let's talk about it. Same thing with artists that maybe don't have any exposure to NFTs currently, maybe traditional gallery artists. So there's a lot of different avenues to get a hold of art that we think can add value to our members. And we need the community to help us with that. That's the fun thing about DAO, is when you're a member, you're really a part of those decision-making processes. And the contest today really highlights one of the ways where we hope to curate a lot of art. through the submission form on the website. So we tested it out. It works well. So if you have art that you want to highlight, that's a great avenue. It doesn't have to be contest themed in general, but we are running a pretty cool contest right now that I think is a great way for artists to, have a goal, with it, whether it's the mountain approach. There's a lot of cool things you can do with the mountain theme, or whether it's the trees avenue, which to me is another great way to not only make some cool art, but make a difference, plant some trees,
Yeah, for sure. I know that in the past you've experimented with artist royalties and seller, and during my school process, I came across a Medium article from last year, I believe November, from Lightment, and artist royalties was on their roadmap. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Like how that's a big thing that people are focusing on right now?
Sure. So that's a really interesting topic. A lot of people have pretty different views about royalties, and being such a new platform, as well as being really a whole new way for artists to get their art out there. It's a lot of it's a personal decision. So I've noticed when you reach out to folks across chain, one of their big concerns is it still currently doesn't have a royalty system. But then I talk to other people, collectors, and they say, well, they'll ask the question, I bought the art, so why should I continue to pay royalties? So those are subjective opinions a lot of times, but if there are royalties, it changes the strategy that artists might have and how they price initially versus if there are no royalties. So if there's no royalties, you might have a much higher initial sale price. Whereas if there are royalties coming down the line, you might want to think about that when you're pricing initially, because if you get 10%, 5%, 15% of future sales, all that would be written into the smart contracts when they do make their way onto Stellar. So I personally, I pay royalties. If I sell art at a profit, I'll send 10%. That's if I very rarely have I ever sold art at a loss, but in that situation, there's no way. It just doesn't make sense to sell royalties under those situations. But it is interesting, and there's no right or wrong answer. If you think royalties are great and you want to have royalties, that's your prerogative. If you're not interested, Andrew, I talk to Andrew a lot. I talk to Sir Cheesley a lot. They don't really care about royalties. I talk to other artists; they care about it a lot. So it's really a personal decision, just like how you price your art is a personal decision. So there's no right or wrong answer to that. But I do like to tell artists that you don't want to just think about royalties. There's a lot of things that you want to consider. Last week's show, for example, oh my gosh, that was the best show. You guys killed it. Mr. Skeleton was, I learned so much, I couldn't even believe it. But, you look at the Bored Apes, and a lot of times people say, well, I'm worried about people using my image down the road, for financial reasons. But if you look at it from the other angle, if you give some of those copyright privileges with your NFT, then you might sell a lot more, because it's more attractive to investors. I've talked to a lot of investors and collectors that think, hey, I'm really attracted to pieces that give me some of the copyright. So you look at the people behind Bored Apes, they're probably not hurting for a lot of money right now. They're probably pretty successful. So when you're thinking about these things, you want to sometimes think outside of the box, especially because it is such a new world we're entering. And, you got to be creative sometimes. Now, certainly if you want to protect your images, there's great ways to do that. If you want royalties, it's coming on Lightman, that's for sure. It's coming to Stellar, that's for sure. It already exists on some platforms in Stellar, but they're I don't think they're quite as easy to navigate or have the same exposure at the moment. Doesn't mean it won't change. So it's interesting. What do you think, Fig? Do you if have you ever even sold an NFT that you bought, or you just keep them all, right?
I just keep them all. I remember
Yeah.
I somehow accidentally sold one, the Stellar Node. I think I paid like 1,000 or 700 XLM. It's like the biggest one I bought at the time. And somehow I managed to create a sale order for 10 XLM. And I remember, oh man, like I don't even know how I even did that. It was like I was still learning the ropes of Lightning. And luckily, after 4 months, the guy who I accidentally sold it to, he approached me. He's like, "Hey, like I see the mistake you made, and I want to give it back to you." It was a nice gesture, but I mean, the fact that these art pieces are eventually going to it's to me it's an education process too, right? I'm learning about royalties, about IPs, all these things that I had no idea about before I even entered this realm of the world. And to that point, I'm excited to see how people are going to leverage that feature in the future, because I think it's going to like take off on a lot of people's artists that you can utilize as a brand logo, or you can utilize as whatever you wish because you own it, right? Like if they provide you the copyrights or IPs and all that stuff. What about
Exactly.
Sean? What do you think?
I think the benefit to the royalties is it's positive, honestly, because it encourages trade of the artwork. Having to pay for something over and over, on transition really just rewards the initial creator. A lot of things are created and sold for very, low amounts initially, and then they're worth millions years later, but the creator doesn't really get anything out of that. Unless it's notoriety, of course, but 9 times out of 10 that happens post mortem. So it would be nice if people were rewarded for their work, as it changes hands and increases in value, in my personal opinion.
Imagine if Van Gogh got royalties.
Well, and there next week when we discuss smart NFTs with Tyler, he had his first smart NFT was excellent. It was escalated royalties, is what it was called. One, it was absolutely beautiful. Some of the most beautiful pixelated art I think that's out there. And not only did the initial creator get royalties, everyone who bought it got royalties from future buyers, which was just a really cool model. And when you look at smart contracts and how they can work, I mean, right now, SDF has got the hackathon going on there at South by Southwest, and you got hundreds of great devs really thinking about this question and what kind of cool things that you can do with it. If there's a team, a lot of these NFT projects have teams. So, 1% goes this way, 1% goes that way. There's like Sean says, there's a lot of positives. It's just a tool that adds value, not just to the original seller, but to, I think, everyone that's involved. And, again, it's not something that everyone cares about, because if, I look at someone like Andrew Inc. I bought some of his pieces for 100 XLM back in the day, but as people sell and the floor rises when he mints new stuff, he's not selling anything for 100 XLM anymore. So it even without royalties, as your art sells and it sells for higher, resells for higher amounts, then your new mints, if you choose, it all depends what you want. Some people, like when I mint stuff, I just do it because I think it's fun. I like to, have it out there, and especially if it's a poem or something. I'm not really looking at it as a way to get rich, well, even though it's, part of my full-time job. It's a way, a lot of times you want to just build. It's about the grind initially. So when you're starting out, you got to think about that. unless you're coming from a really successful gallery footprint, you might want to start out a little bit less than what you think it's worth. Sometimes I'll put in 5, 6, 7 hours on NFT and sell it for 100 XLM, and it's because I'm trying to think about maybe the long game a little bit more than a quick buck. Because you really, if you think you're going to come out and just start being, making buku bucks off your NFTs, it's probably not going to happen. You got to put the time in, you got to network, so there's a lot of things to think about. And, we talked about that a little bit 2 workshops ago with marketing. But, I can't wait to see where smart contracts go.
Exactly. I mean, the 2 things come to mind. One is gaming, right? Really important. An artist makes a weapon or shield and sells it for very minimal cost, and there's something involved where that weapon can level up over time, and now it becomes more in demand because time was put into, maximizing its traits. Now you sell it for 20 times more than what you paid for. That artist should be able to kind of get something back, that developed that specific item in game. I think that's one cool feature. And potentially down the road, who knows, construction, right? A builder builds a house, sells it. He never gets anything when it gets resold over the next 100 years. Who knows if that's going to incorporate something into, building infrastructure. It's like as things get sold again over time, they get a little piece. So maybe they could lower the cost of the initial sale to get this new house out there for more affordable people.
It's a whole new world. There's no doubt about it. And especially as we move into the metaverse and augmented reality, one of the things I'm most excited about with JPEG right now is the talks with Action Token and getting involved with what they're doing. I really see them positioning themselves to be some of the first movers in this particular space, on any blockchain. And we'll be able to have NFT hunts, and when you start adding smart contracts and royalties into things like that, it can get pretty crazy. But that's why I'm so excited about what Stellar's doing at South by Southwest, getting these devs involved. Because you look at Stellar, there's tons of users. There's tons of users on the Stellar network, but I'd say maybe 1% are interested in NFTs right now. And a lot of that is just education. They don't understand them. They don't understand the potential. And it's things like these hackathons that are going to help bring more people into the NFT space that are already on the network. That's really our best avenue at the moment, I think. And it highlights that it's not just a digital image. NFTs are far more than that. And going back to curation, if you've got cool ideas about how you can utilize NFTs, or if there's some kind of game, we're interested in that. And we'll talk about that more as the show goes on. But speaking of the metaverse, do we have any little surprises?
Yeah, I can. I love the metaverse conversation because a lot of the hypotheticals people talk about, this is something I've been involved in for over a decade. So, pre-blockchain. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna kind of show you we're starting to work on, or I should say are very close to working on. So
Take it
I'm gonna
away.
share some screen here. Let me know once you can see the
Sure.
scene.
Ooh, there we go.
Okay.
How long have you been working on this for?
This particular, we started in November on the JPEG museum, so to speak. It's within an existing platform that is a free to download virtual environment on PC. And the interesting thing about that platform is it's had an exchange rate to the US dollar both in and out since 2003. So I've been this company's lead blockchain consultant for a few years now, and they agreed to allow us to build something within their platform specifically for JPEG. So what you're seeing in front of you right now is just a simple teleporter. That's how people get around in the Entropia universe. And if I enter this, that's going to take us into the gallery. So I'm going to show you what we've got so far. And I want people's feedback long term, because one of the key functions of this platform is that any zone can be created as a unique managed estate. So the plan here is that the JPEG gallery will be curated by an avatar that is managed by someone within the DAO. We've built this in multiple components. All the furniture pieces that you see are movable by the estate manager, and more of them can actually be manufactured within the internal economy. You notice the way we built the walls out is designed to be able to put different artwork on each one of the walls. And the stained glass here was actually a concept from Bear. So we wanted to incorporate a little bit of creativity, not only from our internal development team, but from the platform as well. So it's been built modularly. So we have these main hallways. That area I started in is an end cap, and this can ultimately be expanded upon itself based on the way it's designed. So it's at this point so large you can actually kind of get lost in it. So we haven't fully decided. As you can see, all the way down that hall, we can go quite a ways. But it's designed to showcase as much art as the DAO can put out, and we can expand upon it. This is all underground. So the primary planet within the universe that this is on is called Next Island. And this is the entire map of that planet right here. And if you were to walk the same way I've been walking through this gallery right now, from this top corner all the way down, would probably take you about 4 hours. That's how big this space is. So we've got a lot of room to work with. We've actually built this underground, and that's why you teleport into it. So my thought process has been that we have the main gallery area, and then we have these little side offshoots that can be private zones or private galleries for individuals or groups within the DAO. So this was the first big step, was building it. So now deciding how we want the DAO to manage it is the next big step. Anybody that wants to be involved in doing that is more than welcome. As those of you that know me are aware, I am working on a lot of different projects right now, but I wanted to get this up and running for the DAO so we can start building it out. The existing platform this is going in phase 1, we are not going to be blockchain integrated in this environment, unfortunately, because it's changing a 20-year-old platform overnight. That's not going to happen. But as I said, I'm consulting with the company on how that process is going to take place, and I'm optimistic that it will happen sooner rather than later. What we can do in the interim, though, is we can take whatever art we want, and on the development side, we can make individual one-of-ones just for showcasing. This is about exposure and having a meeting place for now. And once it's fully integrated down the road, that's when things will get a little bit more interesting. But there's definitely a lot of flexibility that we have here. So in the environment right now, we've got it kind of hidden. We actually pushed it into the live game. So I'm live right now in an MMO with about 80,000 active players in it in this gallery. However, it's hidden and it's locked under something that only I'm holding at the moment to make it to where nobody else gets to spoil the surprise. Wanted to show you guys first. So what will actually end up happening, so we have a low barrier of entry since this is within a greater MMO ecosystem, is this teleport mechanism is actually going to be placed right in the starting area. So anybody that goes in, creates an account, gets an avatar, is able to immediately access the gallery, even if they're not interested in this environment and what it is. If they just want to go do JPEG, they can do that. And it costs absolutely nothing to create the account, have an avatar, and come check it out. So I'll jump over to the location that everyone would spawn in, which is, this is where, you know, new players arrive. And we'll slowly work on integrating more and more of what we're working on in the DAO within this environment. So that's the basic concept. Any questions?
Well, I think it's beautiful. I think it's amazing, and I love the fact that people that aren't on chain will have the potential to visit that. One thing a lot of folks might not know some of the terminology. When you say MMO, what does that refer to?
Massively multiplayer online.
Okay.
So this platform, it has been an existing MMO since 2003. It has an exchange rate to the US dollar of 10-1 for its in-game currency that is not chain. So players are actually really used to items worth real world money. This platform's actually been in the Guinness Book of World Records for most expensive virtual items ever sold.
Wow.
Which was a virtual space, or actually it was a virtual asteroid sold for $100,000 back in 2008. That resold about 6 years ago for 700,000. There was a whole planet that was sold off in shares for 6 million that has a profit sharing mechanism to it. So when blockchain showed up and profit sharing of virtual assets and metaverse started coming into play, I mean, this is something I've been doing a long time just off chain. So it's a perfect fit, honestly, in my opinion. So JPEG will not be the first gallery that's ever been placed, but it will be the first blockchain gallery that's ever been placed. There was actually a gallery put in 2007 for New Oxford University, and they had a whole art curation. So the existing player base here and the general ecosystem of metaverse spaces is totally ready for this thing. So yeah, I'd be curious what you know, what you guys think. You know, what do you think is the possibility of a space like that? You know, what would you guys like to see in there? You know, all of the art, all of the artists' art, you know, that are associated.
Well, I'll tell you, there's so much potential that it's hard to even know where to start. But one of the things that I find coolest about that is, so for example, could you have a link in there, like art, and then the link, if you click on it, maybe you go to Lightment? Would that be a possibility?
There is not direct embedding of links inside the environment right now,
Okay.
but it can be promoted. So we
Okay.
can put signage up inside the gallery that tells people what URLs to go to. And ultimately that will be the case. It's the platform was originally built in Gamebryo back in 2003, and in 2009 it converted to CryEngine, and now it's getting ready to go through another transition into Unreal 5. And that entire time, the same accounts, the same account assets have persisted. So guns, armor, all of that worth real world money, and even piratable space in between the planets. So it's something that I think a lot of people are going to find interesting, and we're going to be able to utilize a lot of mechanics that were already pre-built that are game ready. I mean, we're ready to launch this thing in summer. Obviously the design's done, so it's going to be a matter of just establishing the estates, the estate curators, those curators creating their avatars, and then we'll hand the deeds off to the estates of the gallery to those curators, and they can get to running this thing.
So cool. You know, I love Lightment to death. But if you're an artist and you mint, your art sometimes gets buried because there's just fresh mint constantly coming in. So if you're able to have a gallery space where you can constantly have your art visible to people that aren't going to spend hours going down pages after pages on the Lightmint screen. That offers so much from a marketing perspective, just getting your art out there, not just out there, but in a really cool, engaging, interactive space. So I think it's excellent. And the more ways we look at the metaverse and how it can help NFTs, real world use cases as well, it's really inspiring. So I don't like to think about people, plugged into their Oculus and living in a virtual world their whole life, but it's really cool when you can tie it to things outside of the actual metaverse as well. And I think that those are some of the most inspiring use cases for that, with the DAO in particular. There's a lot of things we can do.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. You bring up something kind of interesting when it comes to the virtual life, and me having been part of this universe and online environments for a very long time. You build friendships the same way everybody in the DAO's been getting to know each other and growing together. And there's a lot of people that don't have the ability to exist the same way some of us do in the real world. I actually have a business partner who has very minute seizures on a regular basis due to an accident when he was a kid. They're nothing major, but he's sick of people looking at him funny every time he freezes for about 30 seconds. When he's in an MMO like this, he gets to just feel normal. So I think there's some huge value to the sense of anonymity that some people can get from a virtual environment like this that can improve quality of life. And I've seen it firsthand, many times over the years.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. That's definitely one of the potentials to I think really help people develop relationships when they might have trouble, whether it's physical or for whatever reason. It's a great opportunity. Now, is there a chance that the pirates could come and take over the gallery?
Steal your booty?
No. That's a specific zones. So that's actually been structured to encourage each one of the planets, because in the Entropia universe, each one of the planets is actually a different development studio on the same platform. And then each one of those maintains their own economy, but there is interplanetary economy. So there's spaceships that have sold for $10,000 that guys use to safely transport you through space so you don't get robbed. So there is the game itself has a 460 million GDP. That's how much moves in this environment. Wow. So we're going to be showcasing JPEG to a very open-minded audience of existing players and an existing community. And yeah, it'll be pretty easy to turn what you're seeing right here, which ultimately, I think it looks great. I'm happy with it, but it's like when you buy a brand new house or you move into a brand new apartment or something like that. It's not decorated yet. It doesn't feel like a home yet. So I'm looking forward to seeing what our curators do to build this place out with the assets that we've created.
I think it's brilliant already. I mean, like the esoteric vibe with the the architecture, the marble floors. It's very detailed. I like this a lot. We'll have to. Go ahead.
I was going to say, what can NFT space offer the existing clients there? I mean, is there any way that we can make art that could have value elsewhere in the game?
Absolutely. So since it's not on chain yet, my thought was on the development side, a few unique pieces that are curated by the DAO can be created and left in the museums. There is a mechanism in the game where users can upload content of their own into a sign frame and sell that to other players. So we can create a segment in here. Granted, it's not going to be on chain, but someone can create a piece of art and upload it to a sign in the game, and they can sell it to the existing user base. It's more exposure for them as an individual. And eventually, that will be integrated with chain. But in the meantime, someone can create an account, buy themselves a sign off the auction system, upload their art in a PNG form, and then sell that to other players either through the gallery or through the auction system or through direct trade if they want to promote themselves.
Yeah, that could be a great use for the new unlockable content feature.
Yes. My brain was already thinking all those processes. Nice.
Right. I mean, everything doesn't have to be on chain. The idea, it does, you got to keep an open mind if especially when there's so much already going on in that particular world. It's only PC, you say?
Yeah, it's only PC for now. Unreal 5 will expand it to many more platforms, but that's moving a 20-year-old game and all the assets that have been around takes a little bit of time. So that one's going to be a little bit down the road.
Where can people go download this game?
So if they want to, the way the system works, you can go to Entropia Universe, but the gallery is on the planet of Next Island. So what happens is if you go to any specific planet's website first, then the cookies that get dropped on your browser will recognize which planet you recognize first, and that's where you'll spawn when you create your account. So you can go to Entropia Universe, check everything out, get an idea. There will be a list of all the different planets that are there. Then clear your cookies, go to nextisland.com and download it from there. So your avatar will spawn on the planet that the gallery will be on. So nextisland.com.
We'll definitely have to post that in our Discord so our members know where to specifically go.
Cool. And so like I said, it's not going to be live and accessible to general players until next version update, which those happen every 3 months or so. But that will be this summer. It'll be live, and I'm hoping between now and then we can determine who the DAO's museum curators are going to be, who'd like to run some independent wings where artists can sell their own signage to existing players, and hear other people's ideas of how to utilize the space for the DAO.
Very exciting. Very exciting.
All right, I'll jump off Sharon now since I think you guys have seen a few.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was great. Very excited to see this summer how it all turns out and who's going to be in there. Can't wait to see all you guys.
So, are there any questions from the audience that we want to address?
So there are some questions. People want to know a little bit more about the NFTs. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. So NFTs is really the first philanthropy project that JPEG launched. I'm not on the philanthropy committee, but I do work with them quite a bit. I think I've only missed one or two meetings with them. But the Seneca Park Zoo Society has does a lot of work in Madagascar, and deforestation there is a pretty big problem. And a lot of the reason for the deforestation is local economy. They use the trees for essential oils or to survive. But in the process of chopping down all those trees, everyone knows, if you've seen the Disney movie Madagascar, that there's some of the coolest and most unique animals on the planet in that island, and their habitat's slowly going away, and that's pretty tragic. And so we're just trying to get some endemic trees and some forests hopefully replanted. The first and the main NFT, well, it's not actually an NFT, it's a digital collectible, was by Gnaw, and that is basically like our member token. That's something that we will be able to use hopefully with some of these unlockable content, like gated content as well. potentially for voting in the future, and a lot of other perks. But each one of those is priced at 10 USDC, and for that, that plants 20 trees. And a lot of people, if you're involved with philanthropy, you might notice that when you look at how many dollars of your donation actually make it to the cause that you're donating to, it can be pretty discouraging. Sometimes it's 25% of the money that you donate makes it to the individual or the cause that you're intending it to. And I'm really, really proud of how well Seneca Zoo manages their donations. It's upwards of 75% makes it to the actual local communities. And the good thing is not only are we planting trees, we're using local people to do that and helping kind of offset why they were chopping them down in the first place was because they're trying to raise money to feed their family. And now, hopefully we're able to give them a reason to plant trees. And it's so far we've managed it's been a little less than a month, and I think we're up to several acres, a little mini forest. The other thing, recently I personally minted a one of one, an actual NFT, and auctioned it. That was raised. I did that in XLM, but that raised enough to plant, I think like 160 trees. Not too bad. So that's one of the things that when we talk about procuring art and some of the benefits that you might get as an artist working with JPEG is hopefully, you can use your art to do something that makes a significant difference. A lot of times artists, when they look at NFTs, they think, oh my gosh, they're not, these blockchains are so bad for the environment. And I hear all about all this mining and all this energy it takes, and it's bad for the world. And artists tend to be pretty eco-friendly. And Stellar doesn't have a lot of those issues. I believe a Stellar transaction is actually less than a Visa transaction as far as carbon footprint. So if you're inspired to maybe donate some pieces, we're happy to do that. I mean, doesn't mean that we can't have some type of compensation for things like that. But really, at the end of the day, when you're getting involved with philanthropy, hopefully you get some publicity from it. I'm not trying to say philanthropy should be a selfish thing, but you probably will get a little publicity by good press by saying, hey, here's something I'm doing. And rather than just being one other artist on Lightment, you're going to get a lot of people supporting you. So it's a good way to draw some attention to yourself and do a good project. I see Debbie says she's happy to make some. I bet she'd make some really cool trees. I'd love to see more artists get involved with that. At the end of the day, though, we really want people to be aware of the original digital collectible that's up on the website all the time. That's available. We made 2,022 copies, which is a pretty big supply for a digital collectible, but not for a philanthropy project. So really, it's kind of scarce. It's almost more like a cryptocurrency, really, like a token in its own right. So when you think of it that way, it's pretty neat, and it's tied to a really beautiful image. If you haven't seen the image, definitely just all you have to do on Lightment is type in Madagascar. There's only, I think, 2 things that will populate that search, and you'll see that'll take you to the trees page. And the DAO did a whole separate account for that, just so we can, we don't have to worry about the accounting. Everything's going to be clean, and all the money is directly, everything that goes in there goes directly to Seneca Park Zoo Society. And there's some really cool people behind that have helped us out. Hopefully things like that also will bring people into Stellar that maybe didn't know anything about it. And it's a good way also to introduce the fact that, hey, we're green. We're a green platform. The other day I tweeted out, man, I don't understand. Everyone's so concerned about the environment, and yet no one cares about it when it comes to cryptocurrency. It seems hypocritical to me. I mean, it's one of the biggest selling points to Stellar. Stellar has so many selling points, but that's one of the biggest ones. You don't want to have, I think Bitcoin mining, it's like uses energy of a small continent. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's ridiculous. And Stellar, almost zero carbon footprint. So if more people were aware of that alone, it would make a huge difference. Sorry to go on a tangent there.
No, you definitely did not. It's very informative. I can't wait to buy a few today just to kind of help support. Definitely, it's worthy. Noble too. I mean, like, I used to work for a company that worked with companies in Madagascar, and definitely know what you're explaining.
It's a pretty magical place. I've never been, but I've seen quite a few documentaries, and there's some really wild creatures roaming that land.
Yeah, a lot of beautiful stone too. A lot of beautiful stone. One of the rarest in the world. Oh man. So we have a couple more questions to discuss today. We're almost at the hour. So they want to know, how is the art curated on JPEG DAO?
So in how we've been doing it as of now is I basically reach out to artists. That's I'd say 85% of the way I get a hold of art. Is I'll reach out to them and say, hey, are you interested? Here's why I think we can benefit you. One, we offer payment up front. Two, we're going to get you in multiple wallets. That's the cool thing. A lot of times, one of the best things you can do as an artist is just have your art in people's wallets, because then you have fans that are going to have it in their interest to promote you as well, learn about you. Also, you get exposure on the website, you get exposure from a variety of different ways. What we're looking at more is having people come to us. I would love to see more people come to us, and as a DAO, we can decide together what art we want to curate. That fits with what we're trying to do. So there's so many different ways you can approach that as an artist. We have the lore program. That's going to be rolling out really soon. I think it's going to be really a cool feature for Lightman and for the DAO members to see what's under the hood with that one. You can go the tree route. There's a lot of other philanthropy programs we have working, and then we have the member drops. So with the member drops, and this is really important to stress to anyone listening, is every month, if you're a silver member, you're going to get 1 mountain token. If you're a gold member, you're going to get 11 mountain tokens. Those, you have to redeem those at the JPEG store for our specific member NFTs. And what we try to do currently, and this is, being a DAO, this is always up for change and for evolution based on what the committees, the community members want, is we try to have 4 gold and 4 silver. So to give you a little option, in the past, we were just doing, 1 or 2 member drops a month, and you just got what we sent you. Luckily, I think we did a pretty good job. We sent out some pretty compelling art, but we want to offer more. And there's a lot of different ways we're hoping to, maybe provide utility to those NFTs as well. So there's a lot of benefits to getting involved with the JPEG. So one of the ways we procure art is through this show right here. Hopefully we'll get some more folks submitting. It's hard, and I'm not going to say it's easy. It's not easy to get art. And just the other day, I went to a big art festival. I grabbed some cards, and you'd be surprised how many of these artists, successful artists from all over the country, were displaying there. How many of them were not interested in NFTs. A lot of it was, I think, confusion or misunderstanding. Man, I wish I could get them all to watch that copyright episode last week, because that really alleviates a lot of issues some of these folks have when they understand that they still actually own their image. So we're also looking at universities. I'm working on a program now, like a pilot program, to reach out to universities and talk to the students in the art department, and maybe even the tech department, for as far as coding and things go, because some of the best artists on the Stellar blockchain didn't start out necessarily as artists. They started out coding. Next week when we have Tyler on, you'll see. I honestly think that his work is some of the most compelling in any blockchain anywhere. And if people still haven't had a chance to look at that, tune in next week. You'll see some really cool stuff, I guarantee, especially on the heels of this hackathon. So that being said, if anyone has ideas how to procure art or ways that we can do a better job with it, join the DAO. Get into the Discord. Talk to us about it. That's what a DAO is.
Yeah, I'm very excited for our next workshop. Next workshop will be related to smart NFTs, Colorglyph, introduction to SDF and SCF. The class is to be taken by Silence and Tyler, also known as Kalepail from Stellar Org. If you have any questions regarding smart NFTs or SDF or SCF, please feel free to drop those in the live chat, comment box, or send them to our workshop channel in the JPEG DAO Discord server. Remember, asking questions grants you to our entry to our giveaways. And one thing I also want to mention as we're wrapping up for the show is how we submit your artwork for the workshop that we're hosting. You have to go to our official website, thejpegdao.com, and click the submit button. There will be a form to fill up where you put a link or an image of what you want to curate. It's been tested by LumenJack, and it can be already minted as an NFT by you or an NFT that you're yet to mint. So don't feel like you have to mint it. If you face any problems, just join the Discord and ask questions. The community or admins will be there to help you with the full process. And let's see. And to what you were mentioning before about the drops, we touched base on that. I think 2 episodes ago, you and I. Just be careful. Make a trust line with the token, and don't swap them for Aqua if you haven't yet, because we did see. I went and saw all these transactions, and it's a missed opportunity because you can't buy these tokens, right? If I'm not mistaken, they're scarce. Like, if you're a member, you get them, and that's the only way you can get them. So be aware. So on that note, yeah, go ahead.
I just saw a little message from Colette about asking why would an artist be attracted to a DAO. And when we first started out, we had this goal to be an NFT experience, but it's really evolved into something a lot more than that. Almost like a one-stop place for artists to learn about how to mint, how to network, how to get exposure. There's a lot of ins and outs. Like just today I learned something. I've been involved with this for a long time, and today I've learned how to cancel an auction, so which is interesting. If you just so if you accidentally put something up for auction at the wrong minimum, you can cancel it by sending it to another wallet. So there's just a whole, like, Beagle has, I don't know exactly how he puts it, but he wants us to be this sort of artist support group, this NFT support group, where you get a lot of benefits beyond just a payday for giving us a digital image. And that applies to collectors as well. That applies to developers as well. There's so much that a DAO can offer, because as DAOs really start to roll out on Stellar, we're going to see that it's one of the most powerful tools for decentralization and changing the world. So, I better question is, why wouldn't an artist want to be involved with a DAO? Everyone should want to be involved with DAOs. DAOs are going to change the world in a positive way.
No, but not one single person can control it. Everybody has a vote. Everybody has a say on how things should go. I think it's an important structure for the future.
Yeah,
Definitely.
And I mean, we're not like a full DAO at the moment.
We're not autonomous yet.
Yeah. So I don't want to, but we're working towards it. There's really not anything on the Stellar network that's like a true DAO. And I don't know if you could look at any DAO anywhere and say it's fully decentralized. And if it was, it might be pure chaos, but we're moving towards that. And there's some projects out there that are releasing DAO software later this month that I think are going to be offer a lot of opportunities to the entire network. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, can't wait to see what our core team members come up with at the end of this month. They have a lot of things on their radar to complete. So very
There's
fun,
no doubt.
exciting stuff. And the whole point is always have fun. That's the most important part. Whatever you do in life, just have fun. That's what you have to aim for. And the DAO to me has taught me a lot of things since I've been part of it for, I think, since October, right? I think it was like 2 days before my birthday. So and to Sean's point, like what he said before about, the anonymity, I think all my closest friends are online. If it's a sad thing or or if I just can relate to somebody quicker that, in a small town, you can't.
Yeah, my wife makes fun of me all the time for that. That's okay. That's okay.
My wife's jealous that my closest friends are online. All right, so we're going to wrap this up. We have today's giveaway. So I'm just going to pull the Wheel of Fortune up and let's spin it away. Window, here we go. All right, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Perfect. All right, so I think we have 5 today, right? So let's give away number 1. And then you'll be sent a message. Oh, Raymond. Is it? Oh, Jason Latcher. We'll do? We'll also remove the people that have won. This way people get a chance to not double win. Next is let's see.
Teasing him.
All right, let's see. Congrats. We're going for numero tres. And if it lands in a blank, we'll obviously spin again to see blanks are popping up as a delete. Mr. T. That's a cool name.
Yeah, he was the first one to sign on, I think. So
congrats.
Yeah.
Congrats.
I could be wrong, but
early bird gets the worm. Okay. Renegade.
Nice.
He's double tapping now from last week. And then last but not least, let's see. Bankrupt. We'll roll one more time for that 5th one. XDDLG. Congrats, everybody. All right. So thank you for joining our show this week. And I'm really excited for next week's show as we're joined by Silence and Kalepail.
Yeah, I'm
Everybody,
a Kalepail fanboy, so I think I might actually be on that show. I'm not sure yet. We'll see.
you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, Arnab reached out, but if not, I won't hurt my feelings. But don't miss that show. That guy, if you want to learn about smart contracts and where NFTs can go, that's going to be a great show.
Happy birthday, Matt C. Congrats.
Happy birthday.
All right, everybody. Enjoy your weekend.
Chris, thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye, Sean.